people's Keishan Prince, and today I want to help you if you're good in training but you can't show up in games. This is a big issue for probably 85 to 90% of people playing football today. When I've gone and watched young people play, or guys who are looking to move play, and I've gone and watched them in training, they're Boss, they're Ronaldinho, they're Neymar, they're all these great players, they show up. But when it comes to games, they go missing, they're hiding. And to be fair, I've experienced that a lot when I was younger. And I'm going to give you the solution from the sports psychologist perspective, how I help some of my clients. So the number one thing you got to put in perspective is this, is that you're not a bad player. Just understand this, that you're not a bad player. If you've been showing up in training, but you can't show up in games, you're not a bad player. All it is that you lack is confidence. Let's put it into context. That's why I tell people, you're not a bad player. Matter of fact, if you show up great in training, but you can't show up in games, that shows you that you are a really good player. But now, we got to cross over to the mentality and the psychology side of things to make sure that you can also execute when it needs to be executed. So let's put that into perspective, because you got to understand, when you go into games, when you can't show up, is because you're not used to the surroundings, you're not comfortable, and that's the issue, is that you're going to a new territory that you've never been before. So I'm going to give you a few things to help. But coming from the schema theory, something that I learned during my psychology course years ago, which is very good, and talks about the open loop, closed loop theory, is that all of the information needed to make a movement decision is stored in the brain as long-term memory. So for example, if I had to take someone else who never played football and drop them in a game, of course they will not be able to recall in their schema how or what to do on the pitch, because they've never been in that surrounding, if that makes sense. So in a nutshell, to improve one's performance in a game situation, you need to familiarize yourself in those sort of moments. So I know a lot of players, especially the young techie players that 18, 19, 21, around that age, they love going to Power League, but then they don't play enough games. They don't want to humble themselves and find a team that they could just play games. Because they're techie, they're Neymar in the Power League or goals, where they come to on the weekend, these guys are moving like Stuart Downing, respectfully. You understand? So it's a thing where you need to position yourself and play more games. So this is where I tell a lot of people, number one is that you need to be playing Saturday and Sunday. If you struggle with this, I play 3 games a week. I play Saturday, Sunday, and I will, depend on the midweek, if we had 2 games a week, but I always make sure I play 3 games, 100%. And if I couldn't do 3 matches and 90-minute matches, I'll play Power League, competitive, not those group up with your boys, because it could be laxy daisy when you go up with your friends. Go and play a game with men in a league, probably Monday nights are the best ones, and just play. But in a nutshell, what to do before the game to help with this process of you becoming more confident and showing up before the games, the number one is that you need to practice doing visualization. So in a nutshell, visualization is you need to sit down, quiet, music switched off, close your eyes, and you need to visualize the opposition, visualize the stadium where you're going to play. If you know the pitch, if you're familiarized with the pitch, if you're not, go on Google Maps, type in the address, go on Google show or YouTube if there's a pitch there, the video of them playing on the pitch. I don't know, get some sort of memory so your brain can grab hold of it. And I want you to familiarize yourself on that pitch. See yourselves in third person view, not you looking at yourself doing it, but as you are looking, and go through your routine in your mind. I'm going to do a video shortly about visualization. And then also, what a lot of psychologists don't like to talk about, but I like to say, I want you to focus on the worst thing that you could possibly do in a game. So if you're a winger, that you try to do a skill and it flopped, you try to shoot but it's skied high, you miscontrol the ball, I want you to think about all those negative things as well, and I want you to combat it with a positive thought. Because guess what, in the games it happens sometimes that you miscontrol the ball, you do a bad shot, and you do all these things. So you need to combat it with a positive outcome, a thought, and also with a positive reinforcement of your voice saying, come on, like myself, I'll say, come on Keishan, unlucky, Keishan, you could do better, let's go Keishan, let's go, head up. I talk to myself like that. I don't say, come on, I could do better. I put my name, you understand? And I'll talk about that in another video. The next one as well, I want you to do the same routine when you turn up to training, when you're loud and you're going in the change room or whatever it is, however you are in training, you need to replicate that same energy when you're going to games. Don't switch up, don't change your route. Even if you're, I don't know, how you get up in the morning for training and how your thought process for training, you need to be the same thing for games. And number 3, and the last one, which I always stress, you hear me talk about it, is on a game day, when you're on the pitch, you need to focus on your energy, technique, and movement. Energy, aka your aggression, fighting for every ball. Technique, making sure that when you're passing the ball, it's controlled. Bam, focus on the technique, really lock in, and your movement off the ball, making sure that you're coming short, going long, you know, open up, make sure you're receiving the ball on the back foot, whatever you need to do in your desired position. And I'll tell you this, if you could do those things I told you today, you will start to see your performance start to get better where it matters in the game. Let me know in the comments if you've been struggling with this, and if you want also any personal feedback, you can also message me on Instagram, DM me, and I will get back to you. Holla.